Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the RangerRob Country Living channel. Yes, sir, Bob. We've got a sparkling day in Central Oregon, but cold. So that makes it like 80% sparkling day. So, yeah. Today's kind of a quiet day. It's a Wednesday for us. And I think my biggest achievement is to try to get my title thing done if I can get into town. But today I want to talk about homestead enthusiasm, changes, dealing with 2003. Kind of don't know how to define this conversation, but there's two channels that kind of caught my eye on this subject. One is Caleb from Green Thicket Farms, I think it is, and also Dragonfly Farms. And the conversation is, and this nothing bad here, is either downsizing, reevaluation, discouragement, a couple of things that can happen, which happens to me too. Just to let you know, like, Sherry has been after me, making sure that I'm not getting burned out, and she's got a good argument. That's one of the reasons you heard in the last video why we're taking down one of my hydroponics, because each set of hydroponics I got causes me to in the summer have to monitor more tanks, nutrients and stuff like that. So we're going to take our large hydroponics out, keep one, well, not just the NFT, but we're adding a new technique called creaky method too. But I think with us, we get the new Central Oregon grown going online, where we'll be selling our pork online, and that's a whole new adventure, and Lord knows how that's going to go. So maybe after that we'll have to reevaluate and say, hey, this is too much. But like I was saying with the other two channels, they were everybody worked their butts off last year, and sometimes it doesn't pay off. Let's put it that way. It's a lot of work for little results, and it's a good thing every year to ask yourself, are you doing value-added activities or not? Is it, too much of a battle? You feel like you're swimming upstream. And I think that happens to all of us. This year, I don't think, other than the fact that we got to build some shelters, we don't have any new big projects. Last year, you saw the big project up front where we're doing a whole new garden area. And very successful, and we're very happy with that, which changed the dynamic of what we do. Sorry about the sun. So anyway, I still got to unhook this trailer today too. And gosh, I don't know if I'm helping my problem, because I also got a chicken tractor that we got to kind of spruce up a little bit and get that ready for Red Rangers coming in next month. But I'm gonna say it's a good and a bad thing going on. It's easy, especially this time of year, to get depressed, because usually homesteaders like to be busy and like the productivity and all that stuff. And this time of year, it's just work. It's not fun. It's hard. It's freezing temperatures. It's mud. It's all kinds of things that kind of, you go, why am I doing this? And then with Caleb, he's been kind of bummed out because he's having a hard time turning his pork. And so you gotta ask yourself, when something's failing or not working out the way you expect it to do, is ask yourself, is it the market? That's one. Two is it me? For example, with Central Oregon grown, I wanted to go gung-ho at first about not only doing our pork, but also beef and poultry and whole works. Well, after kind of watching a few videos and watching, we backed down, and we're going to focus on the pork first. Why? Is because we have so much control of that, and you know, get the software running, get our process down, find out how we want to do the shipping, all that. If I go too big too fast, I could fail too easily and be overwhelmed, and actually could make bad business decisions because I didn't give it a fair chance. So we're downsizing to pork first, then we'll bring in the Red Rangers, process them next, find out if it's better just to focus on our region in our area within a 50-mile radius, or do we reach out farther. So my biggest worry this time of year is, I know it sounds funny, but I call it homestead depression. When things are too slow and things aren't working and you're not producing anything, which means you're also maybe not making income or not adding to your preps or adding to your homestead as far as food and being self-sufficient, you get kind of bummed out. And like Caleb from Green Thicket Farms, I can see he's perking up, because as soon as he started like talking about downsizing, which he's still going to do, he's got tons of pigs. And he's actually downsizing to our size, actually a little bit lower. He was talking about 2 sows, where we have 3 right now, but our 3rd sow is kind of our making ideal breeders. But I don't see a big income from Idaho pasture pig breeders. Those are few and far between, because you got to be really committed to be a breeder. And so you might, I have not sold a breeder IPP pig yet. However, I've got some beauties. But the next, with our new sow Annie, we're gonna have some gorgeous breeder pigs. And so if somebody comes along and says they'd like a breeder pig, we can give them the ideal breeder pig. However, if they don't sell as breeder pigs, they're still going to go as feeders. And we not only have a market for a lot of people that want their own pig to raise, or us raise it for them, we also need pigs to send the processing for USDA for our website. So for example, I've got 1 pig now that I think is the ideal breeder gilt, and but I haven't found a buyer for her. So she's going to go to be processed as USDA, and so be it. That's just how it goes. But yeah, I mean, this time of year you go, yeah, I'm going to do this, and then you think about it a little more, and you go, nah, I don't know if I want to do that. It's going to be working my tail off. You know, Sherry's been putting in a lot of hours. Dragonfly Farms, her husband is actually working 9 to 5 on a regular basis, changed the dynamics of their homestead, and so they got to reevaluate what they can and can't do this year. And Green Thicket Farms, or Caleb, is realizing that he may be overpopulated with pigs and having a hard time turning the inventory. And so you can kind of see, or that can kind of bum you out, because especially if you built up your inventory and built up your breeding stock, and then you only to find out you need to downsize it. It can be kind of a bummer, and can be a lot of stress on the finances. And then there's the big question is, can you physically keep up? And that's a big thing on the homesteads. I've noticed people just go like crazy on projects and pigs and cows and horses and the whole works, and then gosh, they just get super tuckered out. And I've been there too. Like the hydroponics, it's like in the summer, it's like every morning I've got to fill up a new nutrient tank and stuff, and It's like, and I got to check the gardens, and I got the piggies, and I got the chickens, and my own 2 little dogs. I need to make sure they're getting lots of attention. And so, yeah, it can. You've got to. It's always good to keep thinking about: am I doing? Am I being productive? Am I not wasting my time? Is my activities value-added activities? And then you need to ask yourself that question every year, and that's a good thing. And you shouldn't be upset with yourself when you say, I think I've got to stop doing some stuff. If it's not making money, not being value-added to the homestead, you need to stop doing it or reevaluate. And so, yeah, I wanted to comment on that because some of the videos I watched, even the comments, people say, "Well, you quitting?" or whatever. It's like, no, you're being smart. You're thinking things through. You're playing the scenarios, being a visionary, and trying to figure out what you're going to do for the next year so you can be the very best at it as possible. And if you got something new coming on board, that you think that through and have a good plan. Like us, we're gonna, the new thing for us this year will be new fencing set up out here, bringing in cranky method to try just a small bit so we don't fail too bad if it doesn't go right. Try cranky method tomatoes, and but at the same time going, I got to downsize a little bit on the NFT system. And yeah, and then I think the other thing for us is to try to automate some of our feeding techniques so Sherry and I could actually leave for the day and not worry about our piggies and certain animals getting fed. We just haven't automated that enough yet, and so that's pretty important. In the meantime, got all these pretty little piggies out here waiting for me to feed them. So I'm gonna get them fed right now. All right, guys, I got all my pigs fed and watered, and they're all happy. And let's get back to the subject of the homestead depression time, we'll call it. Another thing that's really, I know, gets under the skin of a lot of homesteaders is prices. So my argument is availability is really the issue nowadays. Whether it's chicken, pork, eggs, beef, the whole works. And my argument is there is not a supply chain problem if you change your process of where you buy your eggs and meat. And that is, start buying from the locals. If you're driving by farms all the time with tons of cows and things like that, you need to get a little bold and pull up in their driveways, introduce yourself, and tell them, I'm tired of going through the trouble of buying beef. Do you sell beef? And how can I buy it? And some might have that availability, some don't. Some just sell halves and wholes, and etc. But it's time for us to change our mindset. Don't depend on the Walmarts, the Fred Meyers, the Safeways and Albertsons. And face the reality also is we're going to be paying more for quality stuff. Now you want to pay more for bad quality, go to Safeway and Albertsons, all that stuff. If you want to spend a little more for really good grass-fed, healthy animals, whether it's pork, whether it's chicken, or whether it's beef, start working with your local farmers. You're helping them. They don't have to go through they don't have to get ripped off by selling their animals at an auction or to the big conglomerates, or don't give them the money they need really for their livestock. And so as a consumer, I ask you guys to please take the time and realize there's no egg shortage with us. Everyone I know that's got a little farm or a little homestead, I've got plenty of eggs. There's no, and they're usually, and I got a beef with this, is the price of chicken feed has gone up. You guys that have eggs need to sell your eggs around $5 or better a dozen. You got to stop this undercutting each other, because you're just hurting yourself and you're hurting the market. Yes, the consumer, I know you'd love to get these $4 eggs or $3 eggs for a dozen, and you finally find a local person, and what you're doing is slapping them in the face. If they really got a good operation and they're really taking care of their animals and stuff, give them $5 a dozen, even if they're still selling at $3. I know, it's like, why would I want to do that? Because it's the right thing to do. And I've been selling my eggs at $4. I've seen one person brave enough to say $5. I need to switch mine to $5, and everybody else should change to $5 a dozen. You can even do a baker's dozen, I guess they'd call it, or do little sales or something. Maybe knock it down to $4 a dozen if they buy 4 dozen or something. But you're hurting yourself, and you're hurting the other homesteaders by undercutting each other. And we don't need that as locals. And yes, we are a little more expensive, but we also, when you buy from local people, you know they're getting good food. You know they're being cared for. You can go look at the animals. Here, if you buy a pig from us, I want you to see our pig. I want you to have a relationship with that pig. I want you to relate to that pig and make sure that you keep me and Sherry accountable that we're taking good care of your pig and we're selling you the best eggs we got, and so forth. And then when we get into produce, same thing. And yeah, times are changing, and homesteaders and farms need to stay tough. You need to keep your numbers up. Yes, when it comes to eggs, we're still under the retail market, and that's a good thing. That's great, and still we feel like we're making money. But yes, we should be getting $7, $8, $9, $10 a dozen, because that's just how expensive it is. They're feed animals, and but in the meantime, we can just raise it a little to $5 a dozen, and it's still a good bargain for the consumer, and 2, helps you pay for your feed as a homesteader or farm. So yeah, times are changing. We need to toughen up. We need to not let people undercut us, or we can't also let like Caleb, when he was talking about his pigs, he's got people that can get pork cheaper. Well, yeah, that's true, and that's going to happen with us too. But it's not gonna be as good, not as good a quality. And I tell you, over the last few years, I don't raise my own beef. I buy my beef from Butcher Box because I love the quality of the meat I get. And is it cheaper? Hell no. I spend probably a lot more than I would go into Costco or Safeway or something like that. And when I go to Costco, it hurts, but a lot of times I buy the prime cuts. And so I am definitely spending more on that. But I have gotten so particular about my meat and the taste, and also what I'm putting into my body, is I want really healthy meat products. And so the best way to do that is to get it directly from a local farm, and getting involved with that farm and saying, can I see the cow you're selling me? Can I see the pig I'm going to buy? Can I see how you raise your animals? And all of us should be able to say yes. And you should be looking for nice, clean areas from the eat. Hopefully, over here it's hard to find a lot of grassland areas. But if they're not, then they feeding their cattle and their pigs with good hay and alfalfa and stuff like that. But yeah, start buying local, people, and take the effort. Start paying attention. Get online, find where all of our local distributors are for beef and pork, and get a relationship with them. I insist with the people that buy pork from us. I love it when I hear from them. It's never a pain in the neck. It's always nice to know I'm being held accountable. At the same time, we're teaching people where their food comes from. Times are changing. I think there's even where they're starting to actually suggest to people to start at least getting a few chickens in your yard. And yeah, for a long time there's like they didn't want us to do that, and now they're kind of like changing their minds. They can't. But don't let media, the media is insane right now. One media will say it's the end of the world, the next one says this is the best thing ever, and you'll own nothing and be happy. So I don't know. But time to think local. If you think local, there's no shortages. There's plenty. You just got to start working with the local people, and you got to start thinking about how you're going to store your food. Maybe you need to buy an extra freezer, things like that. But yeah, you can buy halves, quarters with some pork. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways, and it's delicious stuff, and better quality, better flavor, healthier, less chemicals. Start eating local food, start eating, and then also start thinking about, like Sherry and I, we've been snacking too much. Our snacks should be vegetables, should be vegetables, should be, if we want sweets or anything like that, get a melon, get something, an apple, natural sweets and stuff like that. You can really improve your health. You'll feel better, and yeah, and enough preaching on that. But I hope you get the idea. As a consumer, buy local. As a homesteader or farmer, don't let undercutting or people, especially if you're online, you're gonna get people on there going, well, I could buy pork at $4.99 a pound instead of your $6.99. Let them buy it. Don't listen to them. Don't hold your ground. The people that buy from us know what they're buying, and they're smart, because they're buying a much healthier product than this crap that's coming out of the stores. And if you had any idea how these pigs and beef are being processed through stores and stuff, and realize the humanity of how that animal was brought up, it's just terrible. And not all of them, but most of them. Get out of that commercial loop and start working with local people, and interview different farmers and different homesteads, and find out and get a relationship going. And you may not have the room to, like I do, like I have 5 acres. Other people only have small yards, or maybe live in an apartment or something like that. Does not mean that you can't get local, yummy food. You just have to change your mindset, your paradigm. So, yeah. So enough about that. I hope that was helpful to you. It's not a rant. It's kind of like all of us are trying to face the realities that times are changing, and us local people can be your prime supplier for your fruits and vegetables and meat. So yeah, let's move on. Well, looks like it's still a pretty nice day out here for the winter. Like I said, it's kind of a calmer day for me today. Got to get that trailer off the truck, and yeah, working some of my projects. But I still want to remind everybody, buy local and take the time to do the research. Drive by some of these little farms, and you might even want to stop and talk to them. The worst thing they can say is, oh, we don't do anything like that. But I bet you'll find a lot of success. So yeah, buy your produce local, buy your beef, your pork, your chicken local. Yeah, you might spend a little more, but it's so worth it. So yeah. Anyway, guys and homesteaders, I know you're in there. We're all in there kind of, oh, what am I going to do this year? What don't I want to do? It's okay to evaluate your non-value activities, and it's also a good idea to, like I'm watching John and Debbie, friends of ours, who are bringing in a whole lot of new projects for them. They're getting into meat birds up in Fierce, so they're building like crazy, and they want to improve their pig facilities like we are, and so they're going after that. So, but some of them that have been around for a while, some of you guys might want to say, hey, enough is enough. I've been doing this for so long and it's been way too much work and I'm not getting anything back. That's all right. But at the same time, don't forget to question your processes. You might be trying to sell online. Are you marketing? Are you embracing the internet market? Because that's how people find you. Is your software good? Is your shopping cart good? You need to ask those questions too. Maybe you are doing the right things but using the wrong tools. Anyway, keep that in mind. But guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I know it's probably a long video, but please take the time to like and subscribe and share our videos, because that's how reality is today. We need your help when it comes to the social marketing. So guys, have a great day. Thanks for listening. Until next time, bye now. This video is made possible by RangerRob Poopy Bags, available in Amazon right now. Thank you very much for watching our video. Please take the time to like, subscribe, and share our videos all over the whole wide world. Thanks.